everyone, welcome to this very exciting video. I wanted to make a video all about my second trimester symptoms. I can't believe it's already that time because I kind of feel like I just filmed my first trimester video. If you haven't seen it, I do have a video all about my first trimester symptoms, which I'll put a card for up there. And even before that, I have a video about my 2-week wait symptoms, which I will also leave a card for, and I will leave links in the description for both of those videos for you. But today we can do a second trimester video because as I'm sitting here right now filming this, I am 28 weeks pregnant, which means that I am officially in the third trimester. So it's time to reflect before I forget all of these things. I have been keeping notes on my phone of all my symptoms week by week. Some weeks I don't really have a lot of symptoms. Sometimes it's just a continuation of whatever was happening weeks prior, and sometimes new symptoms pop up. If you don't know who I am, my name is Alexa and I'm a mom of 2 and I'm pregnant with baby number 3 right now. I have my last pregnancy from like second trimester all the way through birth here on YouTube. So if you want to see what that pregnancy was like, I'll also link those videos for you. But yeah, I just want to make a quick disclaimer that there will be a lot of personal information in this video. Some would consider this TMI, and I see where you're coming from. This is kind of personal information to put out on the internet. When I was 20 years old, I was pregnant for the first time, and I was single going through that pregnancy alone. I didn't know anything about babies or being a mother, what I was supposed to do, and the motherhood community here on YouTube helped me so much. I just loved listening to other mothers' experiences of what they were going through trimester by trimester or week by week, and I am just so grateful for those women who made those videos and helped me when I really needed it. So now I feel like I am doing my part and I am putting my experience back out there into YouTube for anyone who finds themselves in a situation similar to what I found myself in years ago. So that is my reason for making these videos and for putting this information out there. Yes, I know it's TMI, but I think it's worth it even if I just help one person. So let's get on into this video. So the second trimester goes from about week 13 to week 27. So those are the weeks that I'm going to be covering in this video. I'm going to be looking at my phone because that's where all my symptoms are written down. So starting with week 13, I have morning sickness is going away, and that is a trend from the first trimester. I had my morning sickness started going away week 9, and by week 14 I wrote that the morning sickness was pretty much gone. Morning sickness is pretty much directly related to your HCG levels, and in the beginning of pregnancy your HCG levels are going up and up and up and up, and it kind of hits a high point and then it comes back down like a bell curve. So from week 9 to 13 was me really coming down off of that bell curve, and by week 14 it was pretty much gone. But what did pop up week 14 was round ligament pain. So that is a pain that you'll feel in your groin area. I think it's just your uterus is stretching and your ligaments are stretching. Your body is releasing relaxin, which relaxes your ligaments and allows them to stretch out, and it's just a little bit painful when that happens. Week 15 I wrote no more morning sickness officially. Woo! I remember when I started feeling back to normal, and that was so nice because when you're sick for weeks on end and you can't stand the smell of your own house or your husband, it starts to take a toll on you after that many weeks. So I remember just feeling so happy to finally be feeling like myself again. But even though my morning sickness was gone, I still had aversions that were noticeable, and I was craving a variety of foods. So I actually had pretty bad aversions this time around. I not only had aversions to food, but I had aversions to sights as well, like objects, which I don't know if anyone else has experienced that. It's kind of a weird symptom, but we were having our roof replaced and I had to pick out shingle colors, and eventually looking at the different shingle colors made me physically sick. Looking at other people's roofs made me feel sick. Thinking about roofs and shingles automatically made me feel sick. And I still look at my roof and I don't really like it. That's a lasting one. I don't know why. But yeah, I had aversions to objects as well. So it was pretty serious this time around. Another lasting aversion is Triscuits. No, I can't. I cannot. I absolutely cannot. Also kind of peanut butter, although that one's getting a little bit better, but I still won't eat it. But other people can eat it now. I used to yell at everyone when they were eating peanut butter before, but now other people can eat it. I'm just not going to eat it. And week 15, I wrote down heartburn. So heartburn is a really common pregnancy symptom just because your organs are all getting pushed upwards, getting smushed, having less room, and that acid in your stomach is getting pushed back up your esophagus. So Tums are amazing for that. I love that they work pretty much instantly. Took one last night. I try not to take them too often. Like I wait till it gets pretty bad, and it kind of gets worse as your pregnancy progresses. And I've heard that it gets worse with each pregnancy, although I don't really agree with that personally from my experience. I think it was the worst with my first, and second was not so bad. This time it's also not so bad. We'll see when I get further into the third trimester if that changes. Week 16, all I have is that the heartburn was continuing. Week 17, I had an OB appointment, no ultrasound, just Doppler. Her heart rate was in the 150s, which is normal. I had no urine test, and I wrote, which is weird because I'm used to having urine tests every single time. So my last two pregnancies were both in New York. We just moved to Utah last year. So this is my first baby being born in Utah, and I guess they just do it differently here where they don't test your urine every single time. In New York they did. I guess it's different state by state. It might also be different facility to facility. I think they only did it twice, I think, so far. And I wrote, I'm 90% sure that I'm starting to feel flutters. So I thought that by my third baby, I would be feeling movements by week 16 because I've read that's like kind of around the earliest time that you'll usually feel it. If you're a first time mom, you probably won't feel it that early. It'll probably be closer to like 20 weeks. I was hoping third time around that I would feel her early because it would just give me peace of mind. I did not like not knowing if she was okay until we went to the doctor. I was also considering buying a fetal Doppler, but they're pretty expensive for good ones, and I would want something reliable, not like the cheapest thing that you can buy on Amazon. But yeah, the actual medical grade ones are very expensive, so I was not going to buy one of those. But it just gives me a lot of comfort to be able to feel the actual movements. But at week 17, I wasn't exactly sure. And then I wrote, I vomited right before bed. I didn't feel nauseous. The whole family was getting sick one by one, and I was the last one. So nobody else when they got sick ended up vomiting, but I don't know. I guess sicknesses affect everyone differently, and I ended up vomiting from this one, but it was just one time. And then the last note that I have for week 17 is that my belly button is turning inside out. I don't know if that's earlier or later than my previous pregnancies. I definitely don't remember with my first. With my second, I might have documented that in one of my videos. I'm really not sure. They do say that you get bigger faster with each subsequent pregnancy, and I did feel that. I feel like I was showing earlier, so my belly button might have turned inside out earlier by maybe a couple weeks. Week 18, I have lightning crotch, a lovely symptom. If you don't know what lightning crotch is, it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It feels like lightning strikes down there, and it's just a quick shock of pain. It lasts only about a second or two, and then it goes away. It's very random, very quick, very annoying. I don't know exactly why it happens. Then I wrote, I felt a huge kick, first definite kick. So that's really exciting. So within a week, I went from not really knowing if I was feeling kicks to definitely feeling movements. Week 19, I wrote that I'm feeling more consistent kicks. Week 20, I wrote right hip pain, and I bought a pregnancy pillow. This has been probably my most annoying symptom so far. I have not had this in either of my two previous pregnancies, but my hip pain has been really bad. It started out just on the right side, and now it is both sides of my hip that are in pain every single night. Like I said, I bought a pregnancy pillow, but to be honest, it doesn't really help. The only thing that helps is sleeping upright on my back. When you're in your second and third trimester, you're not supposed to sleep laying on your back back flat like this, I think there are like major veins that you can block, and it can make you feel lightheaded, and then you could pass out and it can harm the baby. So obviously you wouldn't really know if you were sleeping if that happened. So it can be kind of dangerous. That's why you're supposed to sleep on your side, which is usually fine for me because I'm a side sleeper anyway. But now I cannot. I start out on one side and then I switch to the other side, and by the middle of the night I'm in so much pain that I have to just sit up and stay on my back. I believe it's okay if you're sitting up to be on your back. I don't see why that would be a problem. I think it's just when you're laying flat. So that's what I've been doing to alleviate that pain. But that started week 20, which is crazy actually now thinking that I've had that pain for 8 weeks. That's pretty wild. And I also wrote down that I can see kicks from the outside. Week 21 was the first time that Matt could feel her kick, because I swear every single time I go, she's kicking, hurry, hurry. And then he puts his hand on my belly and she stops immediately. I feel like that just happens every single time. It's not just this baby, it's all babies. It's a conspiracy. They just do not want to be felt in the very beginning. They're trying to be mysterious. Week 22, I had my anatomy scan. If you haven't seen it, I have a whole video dedicated to the anatomy scan, going over what it is, why it's performed. I answer all the FAQs about the anatomy scan, and I go over my personal anatomy scan results for this pregnancy. I'll leave a card for it up here, and I'll also link it in the description of this video. But yeah, my anatomy scan was at 22 weeks. Everything looked good. They confirmed that she is a girl. We did genetic testing in the very beginning of my pregnancy, around like week 8 or 10, and that told us that she was a girl. It's not 100% those tests. So it was nice to have a second test tell me that yes, she is a girl. You still never know until they come out. I keep having that thought like, oh my gosh, what if she comes out and she's a boy? I have a name ready if that's the case. Her heart rate was 143 beats per minute, which is good. And she was measuring at 21 weeks and 4 days, which put her in the 26th percentile. So she was measuring just a couple days behind, but that's okay because all my babies have been a little bit little. Just a little bit. She was in a breech position, which is fine for 22 weeks gestation. And I found out that I have an anterior placenta, which I have no idea if I've had that in previous pregnancies. I cannot remember even if I was told that. But basically that means that my placenta is running on the front side of my belly instead of being at the top or running on the back side. It's not a problem. It just means that her kicks are a little bit muffled and it's harder to view things on the ultrasound. That's really all it affects. Oh, in week 23, I had a migraine attack. So on the 22nd of July, I had a migraine at 9 a.m. I took Tylenol. I get migraines every once in a while. I just take a Tylenol, rest, and they go away. So I took my Tylenol and it went away, but then like 4 hours later, it came back and I was like, oh, that's weird. So I took another Tylenol and then it came back. It ended up coming back 3 times, and Tylenol I think was just suppressing it. And then when the Tylenol would wear off, the symptoms would show up again. So that was not fun at all. Week 24, on the 31st of July, I had another migraine. I wrote that I have to sleep upright because my hips hurt too much. So I guess I was switching from hip to hip all night because I really didn't want to sleep on my back. And then I realized that it's not worth the pain. I should just sleep upright because it'll save my hips and baby will be safe. I wrote that I'm almost at the point where I need to pee in the middle of the night. Yeah. That's more of a third trimester thing, but I guess I was feeling it week 24. I had another migraine on the 2nd of August, took Tylenol and it went away. Then on the 6th of August, I had my first Charlie horse. So that's another really fun symptom of pregnancy. You get Charlie horses usually in your legs at night, and it's really painful. Luckily, the ones that I've had this pregnancy haven't been as painful as my previous pregnancies. Here's my #1 tip for Charlie horses. I know people say eat bananas, take potassium. It's because you're having low potassium. That might be true. I'm not sure. What I have found to work the best is just do not stretch your legs out when you wake up, okay? If you wake up in the middle of the night and you switch positions, or if you wake up in the morning and you do a nice stretch, make sure you're not stretching your legs out like that. Just don't do that motion. If you don't do that motion, you probably won't get a Charlie horse. At least that's how it works for me. As long as I keep my legs limp like this, it doesn't happen. So every time I'm sleeping and I wake up and I want to change positions, sometimes I will go as far as to lift my leg up with my arm and move it like that, because it really becomes such a habit to stretch out and it feels so good, but you have to resist or deal with the consequences. Week 25, I wrote right-sided rib pain. Oh yeah, I think I was eating too much and I was like bulging out my intestine. And I caught a cold, sad face. Your immune system is suppressed during pregnancy, so it's easier to get sick. Week 26, I wrote pressure in lower uterine area. Is she turning head down? So I still don't know what position she's in. I haven't had an ultrasound recently since my anatomy scan where she was breech, but I had a suspicion that she might have been turning head down. That can happen around this time in pregnancy. Usually it's a little bit later, I think. I just felt so much pressure down there. I had a sense that something was different and maybe she's turned head down. I have no idea. I'll let you know next time I get an ultrasound. And then I wrote that I think I can feel her hiccups, which is so cute. Every once in a while, there are these little spasms and it must be her having the hiccups. Babies get the hiccups a lot. It's just this cute little thing and it happens in utero. So that was my first time feeling her hiccups. All right, the last week that I'm gonna go over is week 27 and all I have written down is continued hip pain. And spoiler alert, I still have the hip pain. I don't think it's going away until I can just sleep on my back again and this baby is out. My body is almost too good at knowing what it needs to do and it's already trying to relax my hips and loosen everything for baby to come out. I'm like, you've got a couple months. You don't have to do that to me right now. But yeah, so those are all of my weird second trimester symptoms. So I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If it was useful to you, please give it a thumbs up because that helps my channel so much. And leave a comment below because I'm an open book and I'd love to have a conversation with you in the comment section. Thank you for watching and I will see you in the next one. Bye.